A lost boy, a broken automaton, the forgotten origins of film. Sounds like the magical world of Hugo. Hello, welcome to the Bottled Imp.
Exploring the realms of fantasy.
My name is Ken Boyter, and today we're going to be looking at Martin Scorsese's film Hugo. It was released in 2011. Now, I do have a little bit of a disclaimer on this one. I was in it. Yes, I was one of 300 extras milling about in the background, trying, well, in my case, not really to get in front of the camera, but others were. They certainly were. And so therefore I thought you ought to know this, because you might think that I'm going to be biased towards this film because I'm in it. I did have a wonderful time on it. It was 6 months of my life. It was long days, 3 hours in makeup sometimes. Not necessarily that I need it, but it was 1930s, so I needed to cut my hair short, all of that. I met some really cool people there. In fact, I met Rich, who is responsible for doing the Bottled Imp illustrations, and he's also going to be illustrating my book, but more of that in future episodes. So, what is Hugo all about? Let's have a look. Hugo. Yes, there it is. There's the DVD. As I say, I was in it. What's it all about? Well, to begin with, it is actually based on a book, The Invention of Hugo Cabret, by Brain Selznick. I'm pretty sure that is actually how you say it. Yeah, I've got that right for once. Based on the book, and as you can see, it's quite a big book. We will be doing a review of the book, but today I'm going to be concentrating on the film. Directed by Martin Scorsese. What's it all about? Well, the plot and the setting. It's set in 1930s in Paris and in one of the grand stations. Can't remember which one it is, but it's a huge station. It was actually a set, and it was a massive, amazing set. So it's set in Paris, 1930s, and the plot, well, the plot is a little bit thin, and I can't really talk too much about the plot without spoiling it. So what I will say is about a boy called Hugo, as you've probably guessed, and he actually lives in the station. He lives sort of in the structure of the station, and I can't really tell you why, because again, that's a bit of a plot spoiler. But it's his responsibility to go and wind up all the clocks within the station, and there's quite a few of them, so that kind of keeps him quite busy. The other thing that he's doing though, and this is his real passion, is that he's trying to repair an automaton. Hey, I think I said that correctly. An automaton is a mechanical man or figure. Sometimes they're women, sometimes they're little animals, and they were very popular in the 19th century, and it was all about mechanics. It was all about clockwork, little engineering clockwork, and it was, you know, they really went to town on these creations, and some of them actually drew pictures and they wrote, you know, letters, and there was even one that played chess. Yes, played chess, although it was found out afterwards that that was a scam. It was actually somebody hidden in a table playing chess, although the machine still was a mechanical machine, but it just wasn't playing chess. Anyway, so that was his passion. He's trying to repair this automaton, and again, I can't really tell you why, but he spends his days trying to survive. Basically, he's filthy, he's hungry, he's actually having to steal food from the cafe that's within the station. Plus, he's actually trying to steal little cogs and little pieces that he needs for his automaton from the toy maker. There's a toy shop in the station as well. So that's one plot strand. The other plot strand is it's all about the origins of early film, sort of 1920s or 1910, maybe, you know, round about that sort of era. Really early origins of film. So for me, the film does sort of divide into two halves. You've got that plot strand with Hugo, so it's more of a personal story, plus you've also got the origins of film. And the themes of the film, there's quite a lot. Loss is a big one, and again, I can't really go into too much of it. I know it's a bit of a but I don't want to spoil this, because what there is of the plot does unfold, and I want you to enjoy the film as best you can without too many plot spoilers. So there's a sense of loss within the film. There's also a big feeling of nostalgia for the past. And in this case, the past is good. It's they want to recreate the past into the present. So Hugo's trying to rebuild something from his past that he wants present in his future. There is also the theme of friendship, and Hugo does befriend a girl who's in the station as well. And there, it looks at friendships and loyalties and trust and betrayal. And as I say, it's also a big love letter. Martin Scorsese, obviously being a filmmaker, loves film. And so it is one of those films that looks back about film. So in some respects, it's a film about film. The production values are excellent. They're really good. Everything about this is just first class. And obviously, as I say, as I was an extra in it, I just know how much time and effort and love and care and attention went into this film. Hundreds and hundreds of people, all coordinated to try and make this the best film that they possibly can. So from the production point of view, it was excellent. The acting is very good. Although there is a bit of an oddity. For me, the Sacha Baron Cohen character, the police officer, he's a comical character. And the rest of the film is actually very serious. It's quite serious in nature. And he kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. For me, I wouldn't have made the police officer as comical. It just doesn't really work. I don't think that's anything to do with the way that Sacha Baron Cohen's acting. I just think he just seems out of place. It doesn't seem like that sort of character should be in this type of film. Martin Scorsese's done a very straight story in terms of he hasn't put in any in-jokes. He's not trying to appease adults, and make it sort of, work on two levels. And in some respects, this kind of is a bit of a problem. For me, there was just something missing in this film, and I couldn't really work it out for a long time. And I think it's to do with who is this film intended for? For children, and I remember taking my son at the time, and I think he was about 12 or 13, I don't know if it was exactly the sort of film that kids really want to see. It wasn't really 100% exciting. But at the same token, it was interesting, it was captivating, it was magical, it did have that magical feel to it, but there was just something missing. And therefore, if you're an adult watching it, you may be more intrigued by the origins of film and the filmmakers and how film started and all of that. But the way that it's done, I'd rather then just see a film totally about that and do it from that point of view as opposed to through the child's point of view, through Hugo's point of view. So in some respects, the film did let me down. I didn't emotionally engage with this film, and I really thought I would. It had all the ingredients for that to happen. As for the fantasy elements, yes, it's there isn't magic as such. There's no wizards or that kind of fantasy, but it's magical in the way that it's a real kind of old folk tale, of fairy tale, very evocative of that style of storytelling. And you do have some archetypes in there, the toy maker, the old sort of grumpy man, toy maker, who actually is very wise and he's sort of like a hidden magician, if you like. And you do have the lost boy in Hugo, and you have, the various sort of archetypes that a main character would come across. So it has all the elements to be a really good fantasy film. Unfortunately, as I say, the special effects are amazing. The production values are brilliant. The special effects are really good. The automaton's good. There's a sequence, again, I don't want to spoil it too much, where I can't really talk about it. This is the review that I can't really talk about, because the plot is so thin that anything I do say is kind of a plot point, but then there's not a lot of plot points to really talk about without spoiling it. So again, the film is 2 hours long. Now I just wonder if it was the plot wasn't enough to fill the time, or the fact that it was two halves of a different stories. Overall, I did like it. I did enjoy it. I do like watching it from time to time. I had a great time being in it, and see if you can spot me in it. But it don't know, I really wanted this to work for me, and unfortunately it didn't quite work. I would recommend watching it because there is a good film in there, but it doesn't quite work as a real masterpiece, you know. Anyway, check out Hugo. Thank you so much for watching the Bottled Imp review of Hugo, the film by Martin Scorsese. It did get quite good critical acclaim at the time. It did win 5 Oscars. Interestingly enough, it sort of just made its money back. It wasn't a massive box office hit. So maybe, like me, other people, word of mouth was like, yeah, it's a good film, but there was something missing. Anyway, you can check us out on the usual social media, Facebook, Twitter, that kind of thing. Until next time, keep it unreal, because it is a fantasy channel after all.